I got a question. I got one simple question. And this time it's not, is my mic on or anything like that. My question, and I even made a special banner for all of you, is what time is it? What time is it? Let me know. Let's hear it. Let's see it in the chat. What time is it? Yeah, it's 10:17 p.m. Eastern time. It is Heim time, y'all. It is the most it has ever been of Heim time. They're showing him after his 12th victory. I'm assuming he's, destroyed the roof of that truck. They're ending the broadcast, I believe now. Didn't talk to Matt Crafton. I'm shocked. But Matt Crafton, I don't know why I said his name again. Corey Heim wins the championship, wins the race, 12th win of the year. And with that, caps off the greatest season in the history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And I want to read this stat line to y'all. I want to read it off to y'all. Trust me, I got my thoughts on everything else, and we'll talk about all of it. I'm going to turn this off because I don't give a damn about FS1. Good riddance. I don't want to see them again until February. Just the wins, top fives, top tens. In 25 starts, 12 wins, 19 top fives, 21 top tens. There is no one tonight. There is no one this season that deserved this championship other than Corey Heim. Corey Heim deserved this championship. He won, I believe, 48% of the races, and probably should have won at least 2 or 3 more. I can immediately just think of Homestead off the top of my head. He should have probably won that one. I mean, it was an incredible showing all season long. I'm glad that he is able to celebrate this. This is worth celebrating. And I'm glad that we don't have to rant too much about the playoffs. That'll definitely be in. By the way, do you like the Halloween border, the orange? I think if I move there, see? We got the Halloween border. And I might as well welcome, thanks to StreamYard, nice friend on here. We got our old skeleton here, old Skelly. But the big question that I have for you now, after what time is it, is out of 10, how would you rate this race? 10 out of 10, best truck race ever, 1 out of 10, this race 2 years ago. What did you think of this race? Personally, outside of some of the stupid truck shenanigans, I thought this was a decent race. I think Phoenix races better for Xfinity is the best, probably truck second and then Cup. And I thought it was a decent race. I thought it was a 7 or 8 out of 10. I had a good time tonight. And, I have a lot to say about the end of this race. There's some good, there's some bad. But first, let's go through the field. Let's talk about where everybody finished after 158 laps, 2 overtimes, and a whole host of shenanigans that are just pure truck series racing at this point. Corey Heim won the race, won the championship, led 100 laps, one nice clean number, and finished just barely at less than a second over Ty Majeski for the second spot. Caden Honeycutt got a 3rd place finish. Lane Riggs 4th. Raja Karuth finishes his possible full-time, well, for sure, probably for now, but possible Truck Series career total 5th. Jake Garcia 6th. Corey LaJoy 7th. Chandler Smith 8th. Tyler Reef in 9th. Jack Wood 10th. Matt Mills 11th, Stephen Parsons 12th, Matt Crafton in his final full-time race with a 13th place finish. Ankrum 14th after being collected in that final wreck. Nathan Bird, last one, the lead lap in 15th. 1 lap down in 16th for Luke Baldwin. 2 laps down for Spencer Boyd, Greg Van Alst, and Frankie Muniz, 17th through 19th in that order. 3 laps down for Clayton Green in 20th. And Tanner Gray in 21st. Caleb Costner comes home 22nd, 4 laps down. Cole Butcher and Grant Enfinger, 23rd and 24th, out of the race. Tony Breidinger, 8 laps down, last one running on the racetrack, and the rest were out. And we will talk about some of these drivers that are out, both good and bad. Connor Mosack, 26th. Bailey Curry, 27th. Brent Cruz, 28th. Ben Rhodes, 29th. Andres Perez, 30th. Ruggiero, 31st. Maggio, 32nd. Hemrick, 33rd. And Dawson Sutton with a 34th place finish on the night. All right. Let's talk a bit about it. I don't honestly, with the championship race and the finale, we really don't need to talk about the start of the race other than there were 2 good stories from it. And that was Honeycutt having to make a charge up towards the front, doing a great job, and Lane Riggs failing inspection, having to go to the rear, pass through, and he charged up through. Great drives for both of them tonight. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Other than that, and there might be another driver I'll talk about in there in a moment. Let's talk about the final stage because it was about 50 laps or so. We had a spin early on in it, so we basically had a 33 lap run to the finish where there was a crash with a bunch of trucks. Actually, so we really had a 27 lap run to the finish. With that crash there, Lane Riggs would get tires. He'd move up to the lead. Heim would be comfortably in second, and it was looking like down till the last 3 laps, Lane Riggs was going to get the owner's championship. After that, you got Heim, who was going to get the driver's championship. Well, unfortunately, or at least, I guess we dodged a bullet on this one. We did not end up doing that. They did not end up finishing that way. Over the closing laps, there was smoke coming out of the 81 of Mosack's truck. He had kind of just pedaled it around. I believe Mosack is the teammate of Tyler Ankrum, the 81 and 18 trucks. And he stays out on the track with big tire rubs on both of the front tires. And they tell him to get down. They tell him to get down into the pits. And he, stays out on the track, flat tire, gets up into the wall, brings out a caution with 2 laps to go. We bring on overtime, and it is time for wacky shenanigans. A bunch of them take 2 tires. The 98, 18, and 52 all take 2 tires. Heim takes 4. That was the huge difference. So overtime number 1, though, you had Stephen Parsons and Cole Butcher. Butcher, the teammate of Honeycutt that stay out front, that basically stack up the entire field. Everyone in typical Phoenix fashion spreads and fans way the hell out, and entering into 1 and 2. I got this screenshot off of, it was just going all over Twitter. It was in one of my group chats. Absolutely insane. 7 wide. You see the 7 up top. You see the 62 in the middle. The 98 and the 52 tried to shoot the middle. Same with Enfinger and Caruth. Down on the bottom, 4 tires. Amazing move. 7 wide. I repeat, if you're looking for your crazy ass crashes and 7 wide racing, you got it tonight. And that is Corey Heim all the way on the bottom, 7 wide. He would clear out to be second. And there was, of course, a crash right after this happening. Majeski, the leader. But again, Majeski has a tire disadvantage. Heim has basically everything lining up pretty damn perfect for him. 7 wide. Now, I will say this. And y'all who've been watching forever and even recently know, I despise this current format. I think the fact that Heim was in this position is a disgrace. This is badass. This is really, really badass, man. There's no other way around it. It is a hell of a move. Heim was the best all night, just like he was all season. I don't care what you think of formats or anything like that. I do not want to take away how badass a 7 wide move down on the bottom, just right on the inside wall, how awesome that was to see. That was an awesome, awesome moment. And And thank God it also got Corey Heim in position to earn and win that championship that he definitely deserved. We get the second overtime attempt after a crash that involved the 18, the 9, 62, 15, 88. The 9 just kind of squeezed them. The 18 and 62, that is, and big hits tonight. I can't remember which one it was, but I know one of them like hit, got a little air. I know Perez did earlier. There were some pretty hard hits. Dawson Sutton on the lap 1 wreck, really tough hit. But that lines up for the 98 and the 11 to line up side by side, and Heim clears after a valiant fight by Majeski. He gets the white flag. He wins the race. He wins the championship. And again, like I said, I don't think anybody this year deserved it other than Corey Heim. And I know the talking point, and I know that Jordan Bianchi brought it up, is like, well, if you want a full season point, you got to root against Heim and Zilich. And I will reiterate what I said. I do not want to root against the best, and I can't pull myself to do that personally. I want the best of the best to go out there, the guys who deserve it to go out and win, regardless of all of the other things swirling around in the media sphere and all of that. I don't believe in ends justify the means. I love that Corey Heim is the champion tonight. And this season will be immortalized in the history of this series, in the history of this sport. I know there was the little back and forth debate that we had on NWP with me and Eric and Danny about whether Heim deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of Truck Series drivers ever. Well, he's set every single season record you possibly could this year. And I have the all-time wins list because of course I do. You can't see it because camera sucks and I need to upgrade that over the offseason. But he's 6th. This was his 23rd career win in this series, 12th this year. He is now in sole possession of 6th all-time, 1 ahead of Todd Bodine, 1 behind Johnny Sauter, and only a couple behind Skinner and Sprague for 3rd. And he's going to run a couple races next year. He very easily will probably be in the top 5 in the coming year or two. To me, he is on the Mount Rushmore of this series. He is one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah, sure. Best equipment or best, setup for a driver. Sure. I get all that. But that doesn't take away the fact that he delivered with that. He executed every single week. And when he didn't, it usually wasn't his fault. So I can't say enough. Say I'm glazing, say what you want. We don't see series have these kind of seasons, let alone NASCAR. I'm just saying in general, it is rare to see these kind of dominant seasons that far ahead of the competition, especially in NASCAR though. And it should be appreciated. It should be talked about. I'm glad I don't have to do a video about this. I'm glad that we can talk about how great Heim was. Now I want to bring a few up here though, and let's talk about them. I'll do the positive one first because I all know you want me to go in on Mozak. But Cruz, man, I know that he finished 28th, but Brent Cruz, he is there. I think next year he's going to be a hell of a talent to watch and a really great and fun driver to see progress. I think he deserves his flowers. It's going to get overlooked. And I understand as well. Matt Crafton in what could be his last race ever, for sure. Last race full time, 13th, ran top 10 at the end. Yeah, sure, it was attrition, but deserves the shout out. I'm sure if Fox had any ounce of shame possible, they would be ashamed of not giving him a decent enough interview at the end. But yeah, the elephant in the room here is going to be Mozak, and him staying out, causing a caution, and pretty clearly, I would say, doing a bit of race manipulation. David Rudiman style, except Rudiman's was just an accident when it came to manipulating the finish of the race. we can also, I saw a lot of y'all in there saying that this is stupid and that he's stupid. Get him out of the car or the truck. And I get the hate towards him. He's the one who executed that. He had the decision to make and he did it. I will say, unless that somebody can show evidence to the contrary, I do think that he purposely did it. And I'm seeing everyone in the chat, Sack Mosack, Connor Mosuck. He is going to be probably the most, I would say, hated driver out of this whole thing. Because the other drivers are just, it's the rules we go by. I don't blame them. But he was the one that decided to do it. He was the one who should then get the repercussions for it. I question what NASCAR can really do other than maybe fine him and hurt the team. I don't really know what they can do really to punish that, especially if they didn't say anything on the radio and it's inconclusive. NASCAR has shown if they can't get something conclusive out of it, they won't do anything, but it's the finale. But it's just a piss poor showing by that entire organization if it is the manipulation we think it is. And I'm glad that it did not ruin what the championship should have been. It ruined my pick points. I had Riggs leading at the end there. Thanks, Mosack. If I lose the championship, I'm blaming you. Knowing me, I'll probably blow it by more than the points I lost. But I'm just so sick of this shit. I'm just so sick of the blatant manipulation of just the and I know this sounds corny, but the poor showing of just sportsmanship in general that these kind of moments create. I'm just glad that Heim was able to overcome that, because there's no way you can tell me, well, he didn't show up when the lights were brightest. Like, get out of here with that shit. He did all night, all season long. Any other, and I checked, any other point system that NASCAR has ever had, Heim would have had it locked up multiple races early. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't like that, you're really happy with what happened tonight. If you're somebody like I think the majority of us in here, you understand that is appalling. Like they're talking about, like, what if the playoff points transferred into the final race? He would have had it locked up like by 80. He might have had it locked up by 2 races, even with the playoff points alone. I'm glad that we don't have to talk about it too much, but it does need to be a talking point this week. And I think people are going to brush it under the rug because Heim won. If Heim didn't win this race, I guarantee you, social media and this chat would be a fucking blaze. It would be insane, the anger that y'all would say. I mean, it's true. Any point system, and any time, in any racing series, Heim wins. Now, I get that we want NASCAR to be different, but I think this is going too far in that direction. Hell, I mean, especially it sounds like they would probably carry like the performance through each round, even if they did 3-3-4 or whatever version of that they would do for the truck series. There's no way he would lose. I'm happy he didn't. And I think that's going to be the moral everyone takes, the morale boost everyone takes out of this. NASCAR, I guarantee you the NASCAR execs were like, woo, dodged a bullet there. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. I want to say a little bit on Fox. The fact that they were not at the track for the championship. CW, I've been very upset with how they've been remote, especially for races close by the Charlotte studio, like Martinsville. But they're showing up this weekend because they know it's a big deal. Fox didn't. And I'm over Fox. I'm over FS1. I'm over them. I'm so glad I don't have to watch another broadcast from them until February 1st when Bowman Gray comes, around for the Clash. I'm so glad I don't have to watch this crap again. I hope to God that the rumors that were going around in the summer can somehow materialize and that CW or Prime or just, I mean, hell, man, I like put it on the YouTube channel like they do with a lot of the other regional series and international series. Get it the hell off of FS1. I'm sick of just about everything except the pit reporters are great. The pit reporters are great. Don't mess with him. Todd Bodine can be a little, awkward at times, but he is he is the most well-equipped one outside of like Hornaday and Kyle Busch to talk about this series. I have nothing bad to say about him. Josh Sims, when he's on him, is great. Caitlin Vincey does a great job. The pit reporting is not the problem. And I think if they'd been at the track, I don't think Jamie Little would be good because I don't think she's cut out to be an announcer. But I will say, I do think she'd be a little bit better. Maybe instead of being a stale piece of bread, she'd just be like a getting to stale piece of bread when it comes to how she commentates the end. I mean, she had about as much life as the ground chicken I have in my freezer right now when it came to calling the stages, the finish. I mean, I think she lost track of the laps again. It's like a weekly thing at this point. I hope they get Eric Brennan or Rick Allen or get John, man. I know he would know what lap it is. Anyone. I mean, hell, man, I'll do it for $3 and a turkey sandwich. I know I probably won't be good, but I'll be better. I'll at least know what lap it is. But they don't even show up to the track. I'm just so sick of it. They put the Truck Series races on FS1 in the equivalent of being paid programming. It's just to take up airtime. They didn't even interview, unless I missed it, they didn't interview Matt Crafton on what could be his last race. I know people have their reservations about Crafton. He is one of the best drivers in the Truck Series. 15 career wins, I believe, which I think that puts him 11th all time. He might get more if he shows back up part-time. But they booted the broadcast off as soon as they could. I mean, compare it to what CW is going to do tomorrow and what NBC will do on Sunday, and it's going to be night and day different. It will be night and day different. They kicked it off for a rerun of the Outkick podcast on FS1, basically. I will reiterate what I said last week and the week before. I just want someone who cares about the series. I just want someone who will take it serious and somebody who can elevate it a little bit, like CW has done for the Xfinity series this year, like Prime has done for Cup. I mean, Prime changed the game for their quality, at least, and even NBC for what they've done and how they've grown the last 10 years, even though there's less on the main network. They've done a good job of showing not some pretty decent care for the Cup series. And they did for the Xfinity series for the 10 years that they had them. I want that for the Truck series because I know at its core, this series can be really, really fun. It's never going to be at the same quality the Xfinity series is at now, or the Cup series drivers or any of that. Like we understand it's a third tier series, but I want it taken somewhat seriously. But hey, you know what? Season's over. And I'm going to be honest, when I look at the entirety of the season, I actually thought this was a pretty good Truck Series season. A few years ago, 2022, 2023, even a little 24, we were looking at the Truck Series and it was pretty awful to watch. I know it was dominated by Heim and that Riggs was pretty dominant at points when Heim wouldn't be. But I thought the general racing this year was a whole lot better than recent years. I thought it was a good return to form for the Truck Series this year. I'm positive about where this series will go next year, with Ram coming in and Colleague with the big fleet, with a lot of really good talent coming into the series and moving back and forth. Yeah, I get it. The Heim won't be full time. I think he should be in the 35 car for 2311 and Cup next year instead of Riley Herbst. But I think next year is going to be a lot closer in competition. I don't think we're going to have another kind of Corey Heim season. I think even if Corey Heim came back next year, we would not have another Corey Heim type season. I think next year, Riggs is probably the big favorite going in, especially if it's some kind of chase or a full season points or something like that, more consistency based. I think he'll take that step forward. But in general, I think next year, regardless of whatever system they choose, I think is wide open. This has probably been the most positive I've been for the Truck Series since pre-COVID. And I like that a lot. And I'm really excited for the truck series next year. Like I think we're going to see a lot more full fields. I think we're going to see stronger fields, and there's a lot to look forward to. The future, at least for the next year or two, I think is very bright for this series. And I want that to be something we take away from this as well. I don't want to just like bitch and moan the entire time. I want to have some positivity out in the world before we end up not talking about the trucks for 105 days, according to Jamie Little and Michael Waltrip. Real quick, we're going to go into the Super Chat cooldown lap in a moment. But I do want to remind you, we'll be live tomorrow after the Xfinity race. Again, we'll probably wait until after the trophy presentation, live before and after the Cup race. And then we'll close it out being live on Eric Estep's channel Wednesday night for the season finale of NWP. Please show up to it. All those, we have a ton of fun. Subscribe if you're new. We do this after every race, not just finales. And it's a whole lot of fun. But let's do it for the final time in the Truck Series season for 2025. 2 races remaining on the year. Only, I think, 512 scheduled laps left in the year. Let's do a Super Chat cooldown lap. All right. Right. There were a bunch of them, I think, from before we went live, so they won't show up on screen, but at least we have a nice banner. Ross Crash Stain for the 5 says, happy for Corey, but does anyone else find the Heim time shtick annoying? It was cool at first, but it feels played out at this point. See, that's the thing is, if he only won 2 or 3 races, it wouldn't be played out, but he won 12 races. I think it went from, okay, it's fun, to, okay, it's played out, to, as you're just this dominant, like, it's just a sticking point. We're probably not going to hear somebody say Heim time for a while unless he has like a Truck Series deal next year, which at the moment he does not have a deal. And real quick, I see somebody in the chat. Hi, Wifeberg. Happy Halloween, everyone, and happy birthday eve. That's right. Yes, my birthday is tomorrow. That's right. If there anything you want to show up tomorrow, it's my birthday tomorrow. Turning 28, old Adrian Peterson number. Maybe I'll wear an AP jersey. I don't know. I don't know if I should make a joke or if it'd be insensitive to say I'm a switch. I could be a switch hitter. I know that's bad. Thank you guys. Thank you for the early birthday. Happy birthdays. I got that. My wife made her really good chili. It's like a Coca-Cola chili. It's really awesome. My mom and grandma came down, and my mom made her awesome pumpkin bars, and I got to spend time with them. Got to have a great day today beforehand with my daughter. The mini Berg. It's been a pretty good week. It's been a pretty awesome week, and now I get to hang out with all of you. Watch. Honestly, like I said, I thought some pretty good racing. I'm having a good time. Life is good. Life is good. It is really good. So thank you, Riss. I appreciate it. I think her and I are going out tomorrow for lunch. I'll be here for the Xfinity race. I got, I still got to make sure I can't beat the lives in my mom's basement allegations, right? All right. Joshua Boston, you left a couple. First one here says, that's what I'm talking about. Heim time destroys the playoffs once and for all. Now let's get him in the 35 instead of Riley Herbst in Cup. I have a feeling that unless Riley Herbst goes out tomorrow or Sunday and has the greatest race ever, like leads 312 laps somehow, and wins the race and everything like that, there is no way people aren't going to be talking about this all off season. No way whatsoever. But I'm with you. I'm with you. The Heim has shown he deserves it. Below the Apron says NASCAR taking a sigh of relief that the 11 won. I think so. Yeah. I really do think so. After what the narrative has been so far about it, and the whole conversation around the the format and everything, I think they're taking a big sigh of relief. I think if Zilich wins tomorrow, NASCAR has dodged every bullet, because I think each of the final 4 guys in Cup are very, very deserving. Now, I will add to that, if you guys saw practice for Cup, there were a lot of tire issues. And, maybe it's because it's the hottest this tire compound has been on in the Cup Series. Maybe it's because, it's just the track. Maybe it's just some randomness in general. Or maybe it's just over aggressiveness with setups. But it hit just about everyone, every manufacturer, just about every other team at this point. We can maybe Goodyear overstep the line, which I'll say this. I know it's a finale. I know people will be upset because of that. I don't mind it. 1, because like I said, I watch for the racing. But 2, I would rather them step over the line than have a rock hard tire and terrible racing all over the place. I'd rather have drivers be able to take care of their stuff. And unlike the Brickyard, this was moving in the right direction and can move back. Like 2008 Brickyard, a lot of people forget it was negligence on NASCAR and Goodyear's part that caused that. That's what I think made people more pissed than anything about that. Whereas this one might just be stepping over, and they might find what the remedy is before then. These teams and everyone involved with Goodyear are brilliant people. And I think that if anyone could, they could. Let's see. Fluffy Akira says, the fact that Heim nearly lost the championship due to the 81 deliberately putting himself in the wall is insane. Glad he won, but playoffs need to go. 100% agree. 100% agree on both fronts there. Let's see. Joshua Boston, another one, says, also congrats on Rookie of the Year, Caden Honeycutt. Great run. I'm excited for what Honeycutt will be doing. I think he's a really good talent. I think was it last summer. I think we had our NASCAR prospects snake draft during the off week with no racing before or after. I had really talked up Honeycutt, and I'm glad that he's living up to it. And I think he'll be pretty damn good. Let's see. Eyebolt with the 10 says, when Heim made that move, it was Jover. Might be move of the year. Also, Godspeed to Crafton. A Jerry Nadeau Cup win is a more recent occurrence than a truck race without Matt. Wow. Damn. He has been a stalwart, a staple of this series. And I know people have had their issues about Matt Crafton, but I think he deserves a ton of respect for what his career has been. The way I see it is that the truck series would not be what it is. You could not write the story of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series without Matt Crafton in it. And even though it was a winless championship and a year that he really didn't perform all that well and just sort of backed into it, it was pretty cool to say I was at Matt Crafton's last championship in 2019. I was also, I believe, at Tyler Reddick's second championship, which is really cool because I got to party on the front stretch around a lot of them and was in their stall, and it was awesome. And I might have seen Kyle Busch's last championship in person. So, not to brag, humble brag, right? Gavin says, I hated seeing Heim dominate all year, but I couldn't be happier to see him win the championship. It's Heim time, baby. See, that's the thing. And I think that's something that a lot of people misunderstand about racing fans is we can hate somebody for dominating the hell out of a year. God, those years with Jimmy Johnson, I couldn't stand the 48. If that blue and silver, I should say, 48 car with that neon yellow numbers showed up on my screen, I was like, I thought he was out of it, but he was so good. I can appreciate just how good he was. Same goes for the big three back in the day over basically 2014 to 2019. Same goes for a lot of the Hendrick guys today, for how good they can be all season. The Gibbs guys too win all these races, but at the end of the day, I appreciate how good they are. And I think a lot of racing fans do now. I think credit to it. I think that the rise of Formula One and I would say even the growing interest that a lot of hardcore fans have had with IndyCar, I think those two series and what we saw from Palou this year, what we've seen from Verstappen the past couple of years, I think that opened up a lot more motorsports and a lot more NASCAR fans that became broader motorsport fans to appreciate greatness when it's there. Uh, Close title fights are awesome. And whether it's full season or 10 race chase, if they have, especially full season, a closer title fight will be so rewarding. But sometimes you need those awesome dominant runs. Sometimes you need, even in the chase era, 2009 or 2013 Jimmy Johnson. Sometimes you need a 2005 Tony Stewart, somebody who just whips them no matter what they contrive to make it closer, to be like, damn, I can appreciate a 2011. I can appreciate a 2006 or a 2004. And I think that perspective is starting to really be gained more by the fans again, especially the fans that have been around through maybe the chase era, but not pre-chase. Whatever we have for next year, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a very good step in the right direction. And I'm excited to see what it is, as long as it's not 3-3-4. I don't think that's I think that's a baby step. Whereas like the chase, I think is a few steps in the right direction. I think full season is the right spot. But we'll see what they choose. January, that's what's going to happen. Austin says, now it's Zilich's turn. It's time, baby. It is. It's Zilich's turn. It is. I think the only one that'd be palatable for people, that's because he was the only one in Zilich's zip code all year, would be Justin Allgaier. That's probably about it. Let's see. I think there's a couple more before we can even show them on screen. Joshua another says, MRN superior, Fox Sports inferior. Can we please get rid of Fox as a broadcaster? Maybe a prime by Fox's contract out and take those races for themselves. If we're talking about the trucks, sure. I don't want the Daytona 500 on prime. Fox does help the Daytona 500 reach a broader audience, and NBC usually has stuff, if not going on, usually right around that time, and would not be able to put the proper resources into it. CBS could, but then you'd be bouncing around different places. CW, I don't think is ready yet. Maybe by 2031, they can be at the level sports-wise that the other big networks, ABC, ESPN, I believe would be. I think they have other sports too. Right now, Fox, at least for the Daytona 500, is the right go, and probably the start of the year, viewership-wise, as much as they suck. But yeah, basically like past March, yeah, prime would probably long-term be the better play. I agree. I agree though. Fox is the worst of the worst, but unfortunately we're stuck with them. Truck wise, maybe not. Maybe it'll get bought out. Who knows? Bryce, Austin, thank you both for being new members. Same for the 20-month member chat. Oh, that was a misspeak. From M. Martin Fan for Life. He says, start a petition to remove FS1 from NASCAR. 6 more years, man. 6 more years. Oh, I don't want 6 more years of this crap. Oh, God. Every time I watch a few, if people present truck broadcasts to me, all I can think is J. Jonah Jameson being like, crap, mega crap. You got something that's not crap? Parker. Let's see. Bryce says season-long point system. Just do it. I'm with you, man. Just do it. I know it's not unanimous, but it is, I think, the popular and the leading sentiment right now. I found it interesting. If you watch the State of the Sport address today, they did not say, when they talked about the new format, they did not necessarily say playoff all that much. Now, if you looked at like a few people in the media, like I know Bianchi put playoff. They did not really say the word playoff too much, talking about the format. They're very coy on what the format would be. And I'm not saying that means that the full season's coming back or 10 race chase, but just that I do think the reports are true that it is more up in the air than people think. And I think this weekend will go a very long way into swaying whichever direction NASCAR goes. I don't know if they have the replay on NASCAR.com, but definitely I think it's an interesting watch. A lot of corporatees. There is a pretty dumb question at one point from, I think, Jenna Fryer, like basically like, oh, if Denny Hamlin's speeding, like, how will you fight back against the rigged allegations? And Steve O'Donnell, to his credit, basically shut that down immediately. Like, no, we'll do it the same way we always do it. It's not rigged. I don't know why you'd ask that question. I get why it's asked. It's asked to get a rise. But I do think this year, just like last year, I think this year and last year are both very much worth the watch, because this year is a stark difference from last year in the fact that, like, last year, they were defending every single thing about the sport. We don't need things to change. You got, like, we're not doing this. Things might tweak here and there. We're not changing. Like, this year is very much very, I guess, is sitting in the middle, fence sitting, if you will. And it's very interesting to me to see in 1 year that the turn that these two have had publicly. Also, it was pretty funny here in the 6-minute pre-prepared statement about the lawsuit. I gotta admit, that was funny. You know for a fact they were banking on that stuff being done by now. Evergreen Mountain says the next flag they will see will be the white. Oh, yellow, caution on the track. Thank God we will all get a break until February from this garbage Fox product. Yeah. If they can't at least make some changes in the booth, please. It would be at least palatable, man. SW says it's bonsai Heim time, baby. Number 11. Yep. It is. Gavin says now Zilich has to win the Xfinity title. I think so. I think he can. Man, I think Danny picked Heim and Zilich, and man, he might. If he depending on what Briscoe does, he might be in line for a sweep. It's just a matter of what Eric and I do if he wins the pick point title. Sly Supersonic says finally at last, Corey Heim has ascended. Kyle Busch has the most truck wins. Ron Hornaday has the most truck championships, but Corey Heim made them both look like nothing. Thank you, Matt Crafton. I don't think like nothing, but I think in a full like 1 season deal. Yeah, I mean, that is single-handedly the greatest season this series probably will ever see. And yes, thank you, Matt Crafton. And I hope people, again, appreciate what Matt Crafton has meant to this series. Let's see. Jay Fendi says the clocks go back with Heim time. That's right. Yeah, we get an extra hour of sleep. Wait, does that mean? That means I get an extra hour of sleep after my birthday. That's an extra hour to sleep off the hangover. I'm kidding. Because I'll be here with you guys. I am not going to get plastered on my birthday, but I might crack open a beer on the stream. I rarely do that. I see that. Don't forget, Jared, you predicted either Heim or Zilich would lose their championships. You better hope Zilich loses tomorrow. I will gladly be wrong. I've been wrong about 68% of the time this year. With the prediction segment, I would gladly be wrong. Andrew says, don't forget to change your clocks from Heim daylight time back to Hamlin standard time. I like that on Sunday morning. Go 11s. Did y'all see Jeff Gluck ran a poll? Because of course he did. He's the poll guy on Twitter, at least. I think I'm the poll guy on YouTube at this point. I run so many damn polls. After the races, after big things come out, but that's neither here nor there. But he ran like, who do you not who do you think, who do you want to win the Cup title? And 70, I think, percent voted for Denny Hamlin. And it's totally because of all of the stuff around with his dad, sticking it to the man with the lawsuit, and then, going against NASCAR. It's totally all of that. Don't get me wrong. But it's still crazy to me to see that Denny Hamlin is the sentimental favorite that like the majority of the people want to see win. Now I get if you're like a fan of Byron or Briscoe or Larson, you want them to win. I'm not saying that's all fans, but it's kind of crazy to see the shift in general from NASCAR fans this year in so many ways. Hey, Elite Precision, good to see you, man. Thank God the best driver of the year won the title. Just really stupid that Heim had to jump over so many hurdles in one race to win the damn thing. Totally agree. We're very much as NASCAR fans, like I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, you and me are on the same wavelength. I cannot wait to be able to meet you in person at Chicagoland next year, and be able to just like talk shop with you about all things NASCAR. I cannot wait. Which apparently I saw in the comment section for the podcast. Apparently, I think that I'm the reason Chicagoland's coming back. And then it's my ego and all these other things. That was what one of the dumb comments said, which I thought was funny as hell. I hate to break it to you. I bought NASCAR. I own it, and so when the full season comes back, that's all me, right? Like, it's all me. If you want to see, it's in the comments section from the last NWP. And it's on this channel. It's really funny, honestly. And I welcome all comments, though. If you come at me, don't be surprised if I laugh it off in a live stream and have a little fun with it. Yeah, amazing, man. I didn't even know I did that, but like I'm just that damn good, I guess. Oh man. Now, if anyone had, now granted, I think it was coming back regardless, but if anyone had, at least public sentiment wise, the biggest push to bring it back, it was definitely Carson Osvar. Soupy Spirit says, but Heim and Zilich winning goes against the Reddit like take about the playoffs. I mean, I fail to see what you're saying. If you're saying like, oh, the playoffs always screw the best one, then yeah, I mean, that this definitely goes against it. But I don't think that's necessarily like what everyone is saying is that it was going to happen. It's just more that it shouldn't even be a question for somebody as damn good as Heim has been and Zilich has been. But I get what you're saying. And I totally get it. People like really like the playoffs, then like, it would definitely piss you off to hear same arguments and the bad arguments. There's been a lot of bad arguments for getting rid of the playoffs. Like there's plenty of good ones. People are bringing up the dumbest ones nowadays. I like in the chat, Jarrett brings back 900 horsepower. Jarrett brings back the Gen 4. We should make that like the meme in the chat for the weekend. Like what if I brought back, what in my divine wisdom have I brought to the sport from 2003? Oh man. All in good fun, by the way. All in good fun. Alex says Corey Heim could Heim be in the hall off his truck career? Sorry. I don't know. It's been long day. Good day, but long day. I don't think so, but I have such a different take than I think a lot of people do on the Hall of Fame. Like I think Justin Allgaier should be a Hall of Famer for what he's done in the Xfinity Series and his career there. I know a lot of people disagree, but I personally think the qualifications for the Hall of Fame are too vague at times. I think it should be kind of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where you go into the hall for separate pieces. So like Dale Earnhardt Jr. should probably be in the Hall of Fame for his Xfinity Series career and I would even say his ownership career. But like at the same time, Richard Childress should be in the hall for his Cup ownership career. Probably not his driving career, but we're not going to talk about that point. People are just going to be like, oh, it's because he's the owner. So, I feel like in a lot of ways we're going to run out of drivers in the hall and dilute the talent pool that's up in there. Because like there's going to be guys next year that retired 3-4 years ago, and that's going to happen over and over again. And it should. They're deserving people. But I would definitely think that, if you're just speaking off trucks, yeah. I mean, you look at some of the greats that are already in, and I get that it's hard to get in from the truck side of it, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody made an argument if Matt Crafton was eligible in a few years. Three championships in the truck series. I mean, multiple championships in the lower series definitely seems to be something that they're willing to vote you into the hall for. So, I mean, do we want to have the conversation? Should Ricky Stenhouse be in the hall? He had 2, Xfinity championships. I think we're going to reach a point in a few years where it's going to be very diluted. There's going to be older people that like older careers and older drivers and members of the sport that might not be as well known by the soon to probably be influx of younger voters in there. And so I do think there's a good conversation about it. But do I think that Heim could be in the Hall? I don't think he will off of the trucks. Now, if he goes and he wins like a bunch of Xfinity championships and then goes up and wins a ton of, or maybe wins 10, 15 races in Cup. I mean, hell, you're looking at the way that the pool of drivers looks like. Let's say Shane Van Gisbergen gets up to 20 wins, but he's mediocre or like decentish, but not really the greatest. But he just wins like 20 road course races in his career, and he's right up there, around the likes of Bobby Labonte and Benny Parsons and Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, guys who are eligible or in, like that's when you start, you got to start asking a question like, do we have to look more in depth than just the raw numbers? I think that the conversation around the Hall is very interesting. And I think it's going to get more interest in probably the next 5 to 10 years when all of the people who deserve to be in and are even borderline are in. I did not mean to ramble off of such a interesting question. No missing rings video needed. Congrats, Heim, says Blake. Yeah, I would have made a missing rings. It would have been out like 8 a.m. tomorrow. I would have stayed up all damn night with the midnight oil, getting that done. Rich says Connor Mosack should be charged with war crimes for that. He definitely should get some sort of penalty, whether it's a fine, whether it's, a penalty going into next year, which I think is kind of unprecedented. There definitely should be something done to just show that, like, we're not going to stand for that. But I said it, I think last year, like, with the race manipulation, you might as well just look NASCAR in the eye and be like, do something. And that's kind of what they did. Another one here says, hoping that Heim doesn't end up like Brett Moffitt, where he dominates the truck series, but doesn't get a great full-time opportunity in the upper series. I hope that's the case. That's not the case either. Brett Moffitt, at least from like the reports of it, and at least people I've talked to, kind of burned bridges. And I get the Gibbs bridge is kind of burned, I guess. So maybe there's that with Heim. But it seems like he has 2311. He might be he's probably going to be part-time, just sort of like a freelancer, basically, in all 3 series next year. And then maybe, I don't know, 2027, the ride will open up at 2311. There's been rumors about something that 2311 has going on soon. Maybe it's an Xfinity ride. Maybe it's a partnership with, maybe it's like an Xfinity series ride that's like a partnership or something. Maybe, I don't know. Hell, maybe he goes to a different series altogether for a year and kind of takes a sabbatical, just has a few scattered starts in NASCAR. Rich with another one says, in all seriousness, I wanted to hear one of the 4 who wasn't Heim say after the race, you know what? I'm not disappointed. I didn't win the championship. The 11 was the only one who deserved it. Yeah, I was actually wondering maybe one of them would have said it, but I also understand that teams and sponsors, like, you don't want to go to all your guys after the race, even if we all know it's true. And you don't want to go to all those guys and just be like, yeah, so I kind of said we weren't good enough to win. Sorry, guys. See you next year. Like, I get why that wasn't said. I was actually thinking in the back of my head, like, what if somebody does say that, though? AGT says, when Connor Detsack caused that caution, I about jumped out of my living room window. Thank God Heim won the championship. What an incredible season. Well, first, on the positive note, yes, what an incredible season. I was watching it right here because, like, if I haven't made it clear before, my TV is right there, and I have like an L-shaped desk, so I'm able to like take notes, watch it, all that, while sitting at the computer like a hermit. And when that caution came out, I sound like that one clip of Chad Knaus where it's like, you've got to be effing kidding me. I was not a happy camper. Joshua with a 20, damn, 12 wins, an average finish of 4th or 5th. I think it was somewhere like around the 5.0 range. Y'all would probably be better to tell me. Oh yeah, trust me, Noah. I saw y'all losing it in the chat. What is what do we have the average finish for Heim this year, or is it on Racing Reference yet? Somebody let me know what the average finish for Heim this year was. It's got to be around 5th. But average around there, 12 victories, first driver ever to lead in every single race of a season in all 3 of NASCAR's Nationally Touring Series. Most laps led in a single season. Heim has been historic. Yeah, nothing short of historic. And I want to make sure, which by the way, Andrew's saying 5.0. Shit, man, that's amazing. That's like Jeff Gordon 90s dominant level. That's like Earnhardt 87. They're probably around there. Like, that is insane. I don't care if it's the truck series. That is nuts. But yeah, I want to make sure we do at least a 5-minute segment. And I know trucks, we usually don't take as long on NWP. We need to take a moment and just appreciate how great this season was. Like I said, I'm not an ends justify the means kind of person. I think the argument's already put forth for the side I'm on with the whole change up, with the format speak for themselves without having to sacrifice another lamb to the slaughter of the altar of playoffs at this point. So I get it does not probably help my cause, if you will. But I don't care. I want the best to be recognized, in the moment, not years later. West Virginia says that state of the sport address nearly made me jump off a building. We are gonna end up with the dumb 3-3-4 format, and we will 100% still complain about it. Dumb leadership. Happy Halloween, everyone. Happy birthday, Jared. Well, thank you for the happy birthday. Happy Halloween, which, by the way, I think I have like a Halloween closing thing. Though you might want to turn your volume down when I do that, because I think it's loud. I think 3-3-4 is the one that I think more than likely will happen, or at least is the leading one. But based on the state of the sport, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It was frustrating because a lot of the corporatees, but I don't know. I don't know. 5.04, which is about a 5.0. That's what they'll round it to. Just amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I'm not for the 3-3-4. I think it's just not enough of a change. I feel bad because like I argued earlier in the year when I thought that full season wasn't on the table. I argued for the 10 race chase. I know people are going to call me a hypocrite now, but like once we finally got like the fact that it's a realistic chance, I'm kind of, when it comes to that, on the on the side of like, I really don't want to compromise now that it's realistic. I mean, it's way better than what we got right now, and it's probably the best middle ground. But now that now that it's like right there, man, like I don't want to compromise anymore. I want the side I've been on for 22 years or whatever the hell it's been. Jeffrey King says, did not get to watch, but the final laps, I was excited Heim won. Yeah, I mean, it was a decent race. I thought it was a good race. Especially for truck standards. Also says, did not get to watch, but the last 30 laps, I was looking for my lost dogs and I found them. Thank God. Well, awesome. I haven't had my dogs ever get lost, except for like when mine jumped the fence once to run around the neighborhood, but that was like really short. Still scary, but I remember our cat went missing for a night and it was that pit in your stomach. So I'm glad you were able to find him. Positive night. A happy Halloween, a treat, if you will. No tricks. Bake the Snake. There's a couple more guys, and then we'll head out. Bake the Snake says, Heim's crew puts on 4 tires, falls to 8th. Everyone watching. Well, he just lost. Heim on the restart. Leroy Jenkins. He's got to win and chicken. Jonathan says huge day and also likes the Lions. May the best team win. It's going to be the Lions. They're going to win 52-3. Vikings suck this year. I've accepted the inevitable. I kind of joked with, because me and my dad are the only Vikes fans in the family, and I guess my wife and Mini Burger are. But the rest of my family's Bears fans. And I was like, God, is this what you guys felt like every year? And they were like, no, we weren't 3-4 usually. And I was like, oh. But still, like, that sucks. Like, we suck. Like, the Vikings will finish last in the division. We'll finish probably 5-12. Y'all are gonna win. Like, may the best team win. It's y'all. You're gonna win. I'm just glad it's not in my area, so I don't have to suffer through it. Like watching it, I just look at my phone and go, That must have sucked to watch for me. Oh, man. Rich says, Jarrett brought back the Super Bird. It's all part of the plan, man. All part of the plan. Andrew says, sorry for the late add-in. My family has been celebrating our classmate winning the title. May or may not be a little tipsy, but we ball. Heim MF in time. That's right. You were saying that on Wednesday night. Congratulations. That is awesome. Like, that's just so cool. And then last one at the moment here from Snapback to Reality says, congrats for Corey Heim. Hoping Zilich and Hamlin win their own. Pray for mother with for your mother with a stomach infection. She's better, but unfortunately, who knows? Well, I hope the best for sure. And I know everybody in the chat does as well. And for anyone else going through anything, we are all hoping the best. We can all come here and enjoy at least the racing and talking and get away from everything for over an hour. Cause of course I ramble on like a Led Zeppelin song. And then Weiss Virginia here says, Jarrett brought us a World Series Game 7. I have not been paying attention to the World Series in all honesty. The one time I did, I was like, oh yeah, I guess we are going to Game 7 tomorrow. The one time I did, for this one at least, I woke up and I'm like, we're in the 18th inning. To be fair though, that's pretty cool. In all honesty, I saw people like, we need to have runners on second and everything else and the extra innings in the World Series and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, like just be good enough to win. If it goes 8 hours, it goes 8 hours. Who cares? You know, like I'm sick of changing sports to fit the, ant brain of TikTok brain rot reality. Andrew says, my brother is super wasted. Well, congratulations to all of you guys. That is awesome. All right, guys, that concludes it. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I guess now we change it over to the Xfinity Series colors, right? Yeah, there we go. We're now in purple. For the last Xfinity Series race before we go to O'Reilly next year. So going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you for a great and fun Truck Series season. 2 races remaining this weekend and a year. And there's definitely going to be a lot to talk about. So for sure, tune in tomorrow and then Sunday before and after the race for the Cup race. Cannot wait to see y'all. And like I said, I think I have a really short, tiny ending clip for Halloween. So it's loud. Turn your volume down at least a little bit because y'all know I'm a fan of Smiling Friends. Bye, y'all. Have a great Happy Halloween, everybody!